Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. This is Pooja D, Energy Coach, and I talk about the chakras, I talk about manifestation, and most importantly, I talk about how you can use your life force to create the life that you want. Because I really believe that we have everything we need inside of us, and it's just a case of tapping into that power. In this video, I'm going to talk about the link between the svadhistan chakra, the sacral chakra as it's known in English, and the subconscious mind. Now, the svadhistan chakra, maybe just close your eyes with me and connect to this chakra first before we start talking about it. So if you're comfortable, close your eyes and just place your hands where the lower abdominals are. For women, this will be where when you have, like, say, cramps, monthly menstrual cramps, it might be in that region. It's where the uterus is, where the womb is, and for a man it's where the lower abdominals are. Now the svadhistan chakra governs how we feel, our emotions. It governs our relationships to other people. It governs joy. It governs actually all the good things in life and the pleasures. And it's also said to be the seat of the subconscious mind. Now, neuroscience has proven that our lives are governed, like 95% of our lives are governed by the subconscious mind. So often what we say verbally, what we say we think we want, can be very, very different to what's happening for us in our hearts, in our spirits, in our subconscious minds. And it's only by meditating on this chakra, connecting to this part of your body, that you can start to uncover what is happening for you in your subconscious mind. Why is this though? Why does this actually happen? So let's think about it. First of all, the subconscious mind governs 95% of our lives. Now, I was fascinated by this because I thought, how can you have control over your subconscious mind and create what you want? So what I started to do was I started to get deep with myself. I started to meditate on myself, on my body. And after getting through the initial phases of meditation, I started to connect to the energy system of my body. And that was, I didn't realize at the time, but it was my chakra system. The first chakra that I started to feel was my solar plexus, and that was the third chakra. But then after that, as my meditation started to go deeper, I started to notice the svadhistan, the sacral. And I connected very deeply to an energetic force inside of myself. And it started to reveal its wisdom to me. This chakra is said to be governed by the moon. So in Hindu philosophy and Vedic philosophy, it's governed by the moon. So that means that when the moon is doing something, when the moon is going through its various phases, this is the chakra. This is the energy center that will govern how we respond. Now, in Vedic philosophy, the elements, all of the elements govern how we are, how we show up. The planets affect us, they affect our energy. So you can't really argue with that. We know that if we don't have enough water, we start to become dehydrated, we start to feel thirsty, right? We know that if we don't eat enough food, so we don't take in enough earth, we have no energy. That can't be catalyzed into energy. So we know that the elements do actually feed us. And in the same way, the planets have an effect on us. Without the moon and its energy, there would be no tides. The ocean would have no tides. So in the same way, because the svadhistan chakra governs the subconscious mind, it relates to the water level in the body. When the moon has this effect on tides, it goes through all these various phases. In the same way, it's having an effect on the water element within our bodies. When the water rises, so when the moon is, say, full, the water level rises in our body and we start to feel our emotions much more strongly. Our subconscious mind becomes amplified during this time. We may start to feel things much more deeply. Our thoughts may change. We're feeling the gravity, we're feeling the effect of the moon, and our subconscious mind responds. When the moon is in a different phase, for example, when there's a new moon, we start to notice that we want to create, right? It's seen to be a great time to manifest, to start to do vision boards and things like that. And that's because our mind is said to be a lot calmer. the subconscious mind is not being affected by this extreme energy of the moon. And so we have clarity and we're able to work with the subconscious mind in a much calmer way and actually create what we want. So really, how can you start working with this and how can you start having control over your own life? Okay, first of all, I always say, start to meditate. If you don't have a meditation practice, really start one now. By starting to meditate on your body and on your system, your energy system, you will start to notice what's happening for you in your svadhistan chakra, in your subconscious mind. What I used to do was I used to meditate, take myself into a state of meditation, and then I would actually start to take my energy down to my lower abdominals, where the svadhistan chakra is. And when I took my attention there, thoughts would come, feelings would come, emotions would come, a memory would start to resurface. And I would realize actually my subconscious mind is not as clear. There are things I say I want in my life, but I'm noticing there's a counter thought or feeling here. And that only starts to become obvious when you start to meditate on your body and start to connect with what's happening for you in your body. Okay, so first thing is to start to meditate and start to notice what's happening in your thoughts, your emotions, but in your subconscious mind. Just try it. You might think it sounds crazy, that'll never work for me, but just try it. Just try to start meditating. Take your attention down to the svadhistan chakra, also known as the home of the self, the abode of the self. And then just see what comes to you. If you feel uncomfortable at any point, just open your eyes. You don't have to stay there if you're uncomfortable, but your body will reveal to you what is happening in your consciousness. The other thing that you can start to do is to pay attention to the phases of the moon. Now, I started tracking this for myself, and I noticed that when the moon was full, I didn't have as much control over what I was feeling, over what I was saying, over how I was acting. Everything felt heightened for me. And I noticed I started to track my emotions and my thoughts actually through different phases of the moon. And I would say do the same. We all respond slightly differently. Some of us are more sensitive. Some of us have bigger responses to what's going on in the universe. And I think it's really important to start to track the moon, its phases, and how they affect you. Once you do this for 3 months, you'll start to notice a pattern. When the moon is full, this is how I feel. When the moon is in a new moon, this is how I feel. When it's waxing and waning, I notice my thoughts, I notice my energy, I notice different things. The other thing you can start to do is do some yoga. Now, yoga is it's fully designed to make us align the chakra system and balance the chakra system. And when we do this, when we start to do yoga and balance the energy system, we also start to balance the subconscious mind. Okay, so why don't you start that? Why don't you try, right? A great pose, a great beginner pose that you can do for the sacral chakra is child's pose. And what child's pose is, we're bowing our heads down physically towards the sacral chakra. So when you hold that pose, you are bowing down to that wisdom within you, the mother wisdom, the feminine wisdom. And when you start to do that, we're signaling to our subconscious mind that it's time to listen, to tune in to the wisdom of the subconscious. The conscious mind, the chatter becomes quieter, and we start to notice what's actually happening for us beneath the surface. Okay, so really, really important. Start to do some yoga and start to hold positions and postures that align with the svadhistan, that work with the svadhistan, that start to open up the svadhistan energy. Really important thing I want to say here is not to dismiss the wisdom you receive. Sometimes we receive wisdom from our bodies and we dismiss it. And we say, you know what, I'm just making that up. That's not true. My mind just made that up. But when you're holding a posture, when you're meditating, when you're getting deep and your mind is quiet, you actually start to channel the wisdom that's within. Sometimes it doesn't make logical sense. You may see a symbol. You may get an intuition to do something. You may just feel an emotion or somebody might come into your mind. Don't ignore it, okay? Your intellect, yes, it's great and you need it, but your subconscious mind is actually in control. I'll give you an example. I had a client who wanted to manifest $25,000. And I asked her, she said, I'm trying all these things. I'm working with this business strategy and all the rest of it. And I said, that's great. But we did some work with her svadhistan in this way. I took her into meditation and she started to channel the wisdom of her body. She started to connect to the svadhistan because it relates to joy, abundance, bringing in money. She started to hold the child's posture. And she felt nudged to email an ex-client. She could have dismissed the nudge. She didn't. She took action. She actually followed the wisdom that her body was giving her. I told you she wanted to manifest $25,000. The idea was buried deep in her subconscious. It knew what to do, but she had to get quiet, connect to her svadhistan in this way in order to hear that wisdom. Everything we need is inside of us. So she ended up working with the client. She made over £25,000, and that was proof, evidence that this works. And I've seen it time and time again, not just in my own life, but in the lives of the people I work with. So the svadhistan is available to you. Your subconscious mind is actually available to you and accessible to you. And if you want to know what's happening with it, then start to take your attention down to the svadhistan or sacral chakra. Close the eyes, place the hands on the lower abdominals, go into meditation. Just connect at first. Don't expect anything huge to happen, okay? Just start to take your attention down there and do it gently. Stick with it, stick with it, stick with it. Then move into child's pose. Hold that quietly for a few minutes. As you lie there, don't start to say to yourself, this isn't working, this is a disaster, da-da-da-da-da. Just get quiet. Get quiet. And your chakra system, your energy system will start to speak to you. You don't need to force anything. When the wisdom is ready, it will convey itself. Pay attention and don't dismiss what comes. All of your chakras are linked to your subconscious mind, but especially the svadhistan. And this is the one actually in Western society most of us have an imbalance in. So if you work with this one, you'll start to notice a much deeper connection between your consciousness and your subconscious mind. You'll also start to notice a shift in your thoughts around the phases of the moon, and then you can consciously work with that energy rather than have it control you. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you found this video useful. Start a meditation practice, start to track the phases of the moon, hold child's posture, and then just notice what happens. This is Pooja D, Energy Coach, and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.